Let's say hi to Charlie Ebersol. Charlie.
Oh, my God.
Charlie.
What's going on, guys?
Sorry you had to hear that crap. How are you, buddy?
No, it's actually totally in line with what we're going to be talking about, so I
like this Charlie Ebersol already.
The abortion of a documentary.
I'm fairly certain when you were doing the pregame for XFL, you guys were covering most of these topics anyway.
Oh, my God. Maybe they would have kept us if we did. Obviously Charlie Ebersol is promoting ESPN's 30 for 30. This was the XFL.
Yeah.
And Charlie, did it enter your mind, I don't know, a little bit that maybe you should get Opie and Anthony on your 30 for 30?
Oh, yeah, and if Opie responded to the emails we sent, he would have been
Fuck. See that?
Proof.
You're vindicated.
I'm so thrilled to hear you guys talking about not responding to text messages and emails, because I was like, I'm not the only one.
Oh! Are you serious?
Shots.
You and JR, Jim Ross.
Right.
I cannot believe I have a documentary about the XFL, and I got Vince McMahon to sit for not one but two interviews and do a dinner with my dad, and I couldn't get JR or Opie to be in it. I'm just saying, it's a little upsetting.
Blow it.
It's more upsetting for me. I want to know what email address that I'm not checking.
I defend you to death, bro. This is hard.
Don't say the email address.
You could have been in a 30 for 30.
Dude, I love 30 for 30. I'm obsessed with 30 for 30.
Now you're in a 0 for 0.
And this was because Charlie, everyone was asking me, are you and Anthony going to be in this thing? And I'm like, obviously, I felt like no one reached out to me for real. And I'm like,
dude, no. In fact,
fuck me.
In fact, when they told me that you guys wanted me to come on and do this, talk to you, I kept being like, are you sure?
This is bad.
Because I'm pretty certain he didn't want to be in the film.
You thought he got blew off by you. You blew him off.
Did you just send an email or did you try calling somebody?
I mean, I reached out, and I'm pretty certain someone from the WWE reached out because they were like, Tom Veet.
No, I gotta go.
Tom Veet was the GM.
You don't understand. I gotta go.
Tom Veet, who's the GM of Orlando, was like, you gotta have Opie. You can't do this. And I was like, I agree. By the way, JR is the same thing. JR went on the radio a couple months ago and was like, this film doesn't have me in it, and it's BS. Can I say BS on?
It's
curse on your radio station?
You can curse.
And it was like, I reached out and was like, dude, I wanted you in the film. Like, I interviewed 40 people for this film.
Do you understand, how shitty my career is going and I could have a nice little fucking spot on a 30 for 30? I gotta go home.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling well.
Nagel, do that beer thing you do on your show. Let's do that for now.
Charlie,
I was very hoppy.
I swear to you, it never got to me. Never got to me. I would have had a lot to say because we were picked to do the pre-show, me and Anthony, and it was a blast. But it was also,
don't you see that email?
It was also crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Opie was telling me about that a couple days ago.
I got to tell you, I'm also, just putting this aside, I'm also a big fan. So, I was sort of fanboying out about a bunch of the people I got to interview for this thing. And, look, I'm not going to say my feelings were totally, hurt. But
it hurt you, though. It hurt.
I can't get, all right, I get it.
Well, how about we do a make good? What are you working on next? I'll be part of that.
And quickly, who were some of the people?
You name it. I'm on board. I'd love to do something with you. Dude. First of all, I'm a huge fan. Second of all, from a cultural standpoint, with what the XFL was about, you were the voice of it in so many ways.
This is
all right. So
look at his draining him.
Who were some of the guys that did respond when Opie did not respond? Who were some of the guys who were able to nail down for this thing?
Smart, Craig.
Everybody's in it. I have Vince. Obviously, Vince is in it. He Hate Me's in it.
Yeah.
I got the GM from the Orlando team to do it. Bob Costas is in it. Jerry Jones is in it.
Bob Costas.
Jerry Jones.
Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys,
had enough time to do it. Responded. He responded.
Jerry Jones didn't
but Opie didn't respond.
He called me back personally to confirm the time.
He said Jerry Jones called him back personally to confirm the time.
Fucking lotto ticket in the garbage.
I got an advanced copy of this is the XFL.
Changing the subject.
No, not at all. It goes to this point. So I give an advanced copy, and I'll tell you right now, Charlie, you did it's great. It really, no, for real, it is.
Thanks,
but
man.
I'm sitting there watching the thing, and as the time's running out, I'm heating up. I'm like, he's not even going to use a fucking clip of us.
Oh.
The only mention was.
How am I gonna? I can't. Yo, by the way, JR gave me the same thing because JR is a little bit in the film, but he was like, "Why am I not in it more?" And I was like, "It's hard for me to put you in the film if I don't have you commenting on it because
Sure.
I want to be able to tell." Like a lot of what I wanted to do with the film because there were so many crazy things,
Right.
Like the blimp crashing and then going in the cheerleaders' locker room, but I had to interview the so they could at least give it context because the league was so insane, like so ridiculously insane that 15 years later, I want people like, Vince, for example, he soberly looks at, he's very funny in it, but he soberly looks at the decisions they make, which makes the film funny and interesting. It's hard for me to show you guys having, by the way, your pregame was insane.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard to just show insanity. I need someone to comment on it. I can't believe.
Oh, my God.
I was like not even going to bring this up. I was like, well, I guess we're just going to ignore it. But this is, I feel terrible, but it's
I'm
hilarious.
glad you brought it up because it proves my point. Him not returning messages.
I did not get a message from Charlie. I mean, beat the shit out of me, throw me under a bus, all that. But I would have loved to have been.
Yo, I got to tell you.
I really would have.
You know what's funny? So a couple years ago, I was on Access Hollywood, and Billy Bush was interviewing me.
Yeah.
And he's like,
about pussy?
I texted you. He was asking me about a relationship, and he's like, I texted you, and he's like, I thought we were friends, and I was like, dude, it's not like you're sending me holiday cards. Like, we're not that close that all of a sudden, when you start trying to get press out of me, that we're like, subsequently we became good friends, but like, I was like, you're calling me out on national television as if we were like breaking bread for like Seder or something.
Yeah. I got two quick stories for you that should have been in the 30 for 30. When we did the pregame, we did it at the WWE restaurant, and it was packed. It was like
Times Square.
It was packed. I don't even know how many people.
Yeah,
were.
Times Square.
Like you couldn't even move, right? And so we're doing the pregame and doing our thing, and we film it ahead of time. I go to 30 Rock, and I go to in one of the editing rooms with the producer. I'm like, I was so excited. I'm like, oh my god, this is so awesome. How does it look? He has flop sweat. He goes, I can't use any of it. I'm like, what happened? He goes, they had monitors on the side of the stage, so our asshole fans could see like the camera angles. Right. So they were pointing at our dicks and stuff, and making believe they were jerking us off with their fingers. Like they would put their hand in the air like this, right? And realize, oh shit, I'm in the camera shot because I could see it on the monitor. So then they moved their hand to where our crotches were, and were jerking us off with their little fingers. And he goes, I can't use any of this. NBC's gonna fucking kill me.
Yeah, but I could have used all of that in my film.
Right.
That would have been amazing. I could have tracked that footage down because I had access to everything.
This was oh my god.
But he was flop sweating. He goes, I'm gonna have to like edit around all this. So he's using these weird shots from the back of the room.
Right,
that
trying to get
didn't really
around.
make sense because at that point it should have been a 2-shot close with me and Anthony. But these assholes, fans of ours, were jerking our dicks.
I gotta
off.
say,
I wish there was a clip of that. I gotta go find it.
I vaguely remember the XFL. I vaguely remember it, but there was shit in this documentary that I found
Were you in an accident or
fascinating that I never watched. I remember the promotion. I remember all the ramp.
I remember all the promotion and stuff, but
all
I never
the hype.
I never got into
never
it.
watched the games. And there was shit that happened in the games that like they took out the kickoff, which I thought was interesting. I didn't know that
For
they
the
did
scramble, they did the scramble.
a mad scramble where guys.
Yeah, they took out the opening coin toss.
and the opening. That's right. The opening coin toss. It was. That's
You
right.
had to fight fight for the ball, and then people were having like basically
broken bones and shit.
Career-ending injuries just trying to start the game.
Just to start the game.
The other story, I said I had
the game
two
started,
stories.
players were knocked out for the whole season, and you got bonuses if you won, so they only got their base salaries. It was insane. Dude, I'm telling you, in the first, and you guys saw it, but in the first 30 minutes of the film, the amount of stuff you see that you're like, how the hell did this end up on national television for a year?
Right.
It's insane.
Well,
that's what was fun about it. And by the way, you know this because you worked WWE. Vince doesn't do interviews for anyone about anything. And he sat down in his interview. I was even surprised. I've known him my whole life because my dad and him created Saturday Night Main Event together in the 80s.
Dick.
And so I grew up, like, Hulk Hogan was my
Dick
babysitter
Ebersol.
growing up. I was in his locker room every night because he was the last one to go out.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And, Vince was really open, and it was a lot of fun.
Hey, so I got a couple things. I think that the XFL would have been more successful if Vince would have just waited a year. He got this idea and just wanted to run with it immediately.
Flushed it out.
It wasn't ready. It wasn't ready for prime time.
He announced it.
But the idea was obviously a pretty damn good idea. And a lot of
Hold on. So you just said something.
What?
You said something it makes me laugh because I haven't really said this to a lot of people. So my dad created Saturday Night Live in the 70s with Lorne Michaels, and the original name was The Not Ready for Primetime Players.
Right.
And that's what I originally wanted to call the film.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
that's what it was. They had 28 days of practice before the first game. 28 days of practice. It was insane.
They announced that there was going to be...
They spent 7 months marketing it and 30 days practicing. They should have reversed those numbers.
They announced a launch date without any players, any teams, any stadiums.
Right.
They had no place. They didn't have anything, but they announced a launch date.
Right. And they were only going to get one shot at this.
Of course.
And if Vince would have waited another year, I think it might have done better, man. Because a lot of this stuff...
I agree with you.
A lot of this stuff...
I agree, but I take it a step farther.
Yeah.
If they had gone with the Orlando game instead of the Vegas game, I think as the first game, I think people would have tuned in because that Vegas game was a rout, and so 50 million people, 1 in 6 people in America watched the first game. I mean, that's how popular the idea was.
Well, they're advertising.
And then, it didn't work because the first game was terrible.
And let's go back to the pregame because then I'm sitting in some executive office at 30 Rock with the big bosses. They're kissing me and Ant's ass. Look at these fucking ratings. It was crazy, right?
Right.
And then I knew things were bad. We went to Giant Stadium to film something. The same guys were kissing our ass, would literally blow us.
Right.
Sorry, Charlie.
Opie's literally. Sharon, Opie's literally doing the show.
I'm fairly certain you're talking about my father right now, so I'm liking the imagery. Keep going.
You know what your father about.
It wasn't your dad, but
I gotta go. I wasn't entirely clear before, but now I got a really clear visual from the story, so I'm much happier now.
It wasn't your dad, but
we'll have to talk about technique a little bit later.
Okay, but so the same guys that were kissing our ass, going, "This is amazing. You guys are doing great." Look at these. They were showing us ratings like this is crazy, way better than we thought it was going to be. Blah blah blah. Fast forward a mere 2 weeks later, we're at Giant Stadium. We're filming some stuff, and we get in the elevator. The elevator stops. The same guy walks into the elevator. Doesn't even say hi to us. Doesn't even say hi. I think he said something about the weather.
What?
It was very. I guess he said hi technically, but it was very, very small talk.
Uncomfortable.
We walked off the elevator.
I want to quote.
Yeah, let me just finish.
I want to quote Heidi Klum here. Sometimes you're in, and sometimes you're out.
Right. But what a drop off! Because then the elevator goes to the bottom. He goes his way. We go ours. I look at Ann. I go, "It's over. We're done." And sure enough, they canceled us a couple days later because now they're just trying to save money because the whole thing is falling apart.
Yeah, the second week.
Falling apart. I don't know how many. I feel like we did 4 pre-games and we were like signed to do 6. The
hype was it's going to be more violent than the NFL. It's going to be slutty cheerleaders. We're going to let the players hook up with cheerleaders. We're encouraging them to fuck each other. It was crazy. So when they launched, they had huge numbers, and then they launched with a shitty game.
How'd you miss that fucking email, bro?
Stop.
That would have been great.
This is going to bum me out all week.
That would have been great.
I've been set for a month.
A 30 for 30. As much as we talk about 30 for 30s in
You're
here.
a 30 for 30.
30 for 30s.
I love that you got Bob Costas to do this, but that every time you go to Bob, he's laughing about the league and about how ridiculous it was.
Because he hated it and didn't want it to succeed. Yeah. And, Charlie, you could stay out of this, but Bob Costas is a cunt.
He just took that check, though.
They feature an interview that I didn't even know existed of Bob and Vince McMahon almost turning into a physical fight.
You didn't know that existed? That was huge TV.
I didn't know that it happened at the time, but Vince clearly was in his face. He wanted to get up and beat the fuck out of Bob.
Vince leans over and he was debating if I should pop him one or not.
Yeah. Let's see that. What is that?
He looks.
But by the way, guys, though, what's really funny about that? Because listen, Bob is Bob, but Bob, in large part owes his career to my dad, and he and my dad are really close, and he and Vince are really close. So right after that interview filmed, the next morning, Vince called Bob and was like, "Hey, that was great TV. Can we do it again?" And went back and filmed with him 3 months later.
Wow. So they really did the wrestling interview.
Yeah, Vince was.
That was really a wrestling interview.
Vince was out of his mind, but Bob Costas really wanted this thing to fail. Because it wasn't traditional.
What if they did it 3 more times?
Sports.
Vince McMahon turned him into Mean Gene if he taped with him 3 more times after that.
Right.
He Mean Gened him.
Right. But this 30 for 30, Charlie, is really, really good. I love how you go over the whole thing where one of the games is going late.
Look how pissed.
And SNL is getting fucking hot under the collar because they're like, you promised us this game would end at 11:35 and it wasn't. Right. And Lorne Michaels is getting involved and there's screaming and yelling. And what happens? It's part of the 30 for 30.
You're totally doing your own 30 for 30 right now.
Well, part of
it's 30 for 30s.
He's doing his own. He's like auditioning for they already made it, man.
I forgot all about that. Lauren, the game went long and SNL couldn't start on time, and Lorne Michaels getting pissed.
Well, the game is running long. They lose their power. They lose power in the stadium, and then they finally
Where'd they film this? Crenshaw?
Well, they found it's a series of ridiculous events where they lose power for the broadcast, and they have to cut to another XFL game, and when they come back to the one that they're originally broadcasting that's going to lead into SNL, they end up going into overtime, and then a guy gets injured. And
Double overtime,
and a guy gets injured, so they're just bleeding all the way into the first half hour of Saturday Night Live.
Oh, that's great.
And it's supposed to be.
But Charlie,
keep in mind.
Yeah, go ahead, Charlie.
Keep in mind, to make it even crazier, so my dad and Lauren created SNL together, right? My dad hired Lauren in 75, and they create the show. And my dad actually produced the show from 81 to 85, which were the biggest years of the show, right? So they have this deep relationship, and they are on the phone. It's the two of them and Jeff Zucker, and they are freaking out at each other on the phone. And there's nothing anyone can do. The game just keeps going. It's the best game. The guy who wins the game, Tommy Maddox, goes on to win a Super Bowl, a couple years later with the Steelers. Like, it's an incredible game. But Jennifer Lopez, who's the host, is stuck sitting in a dressing room, like, doing what? Like, just, waiting for, it's ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. You're not even talking about when they built a hot tub in one of the end zones of one of the games and had strippers in the hot tub at the LA Stadium.
I remember that.
They put strippers?
Shaking his head. This is your wheelhouse, dude.
I watched the thing.
Yes.
And then everyone on Twitter, are you guys going to be in this thing? Oh, I mean, I'm not an idiot. I do got email.
Listen, Opie's available right now. What do you got going on?
Can you make another one for him? Because I don't think
two?
he's going to get recovered from this.
No, Carl's going to get me on the Food
Opie,
Network.
we got. I'll tell you what. No, I'll tell you what we have to do is, it doesn't air till next Thursday. We obviously need to figure out a way to shoot an extra piece that goes up on ESPN.com as like a
ESPN.com.
Oh, are you too good for this? Are you too good?
Oh, look at you. I'm sorry. It's not. No. You're right. It doesn't rise to the level necessary. I get it. I understand.
He's too uppity.
Yeah,
he's too uppity.
E-Rock's yelling at me.
You can't do .com, baby.
A gentleman named
Charlie's yelling. Look how low the pot is. I can't turn him down anymore.
A gentleman named Luke in Bend, Oregon has an interesting tweet.
Yeah.
For Charlie. So when are you making an O&A doc?
Oh, there's a doc for your ass.
30 for 30.
Imagine if he doesn't answer the text for that.
100% he's not.
I don't need I don't need your stupid face.
My producer, your producer's got my phone number. You want to do an O&A doc? I would absolutely do that tomorrow morning. Reach out to me and we'll get into that.
Well, my number's $10 million, bucko.
Opie negotiates like it's 1942.
You think I care about your 30 for 30?
Hey, Charlie, when they show the your name on the credit at the end, is that you as a kid with your name over the?
Yeah,
credit?
that's me at a Saturday. That's me at a Saturday night main event. I'm wearing a Hacksaw Jim Duggan shirt.
That's awesome.
Hey, Charlie, you have any any good SNL stories? You were
Eddie Murphy.
You were hanging around that joint that whole time.
That was
weren't
Chevy
you?
Chase when he was around there, right?
No, but his dad.
I'll tell you a this is a terrible name drop story, so I'm going to sound like an ass, but I'll tell it anyway.
Do you name names?
So when I
Craig
first
Gass
came
tells
out,
stories, it doesn't name names.
Boo!
I was trying to protect people.
Those people don't fucking care about you. All right. Motherfucker. You better name those names.
Sherrod making it crystal clear.
Tom Cruise ain't your friend, nigga. We your friends.
Tom Cruise ain't your friend.
E-Rock's saying stop yelling. Who's yelling?
I'm sorry. I got angry.
Who's yelling?
All of you.
Well, I'm deaf. I have to yell.
So turn your headphones up.
Yeah, you're right. I got
Everyone's calling in screaming they can't hear anything.
I'm telling you, I know this one hit Opie hard. He's getting fucking weird.
They can hear us. Trust me, they can hear us. E-Rock's getting very annoyed in there. I don't know why.
Because he wanted the XFL to work.
Yeah.
Still can't forgive it.
All right, well,
Charlie, your dad had the SNL year with Eddie Murphy. Was it your dad that found him?
Yeah, my dad. So when my dad came back in '81 to do the show, he basically fired the entire cast, and the only guy he kept was this background actor who'd never spoken on camera, and it was Eddie Murphy. And so he and Eddie rebuilt the show together. And,
Eddie was an
funny
extra?
is, Eddie was a background extra. Yeah, he wasn't a primary cast member. And then he was the first cast member ever to host the show.
Right.
And Eddie and him were, Eddie built his career those couple of years with my dad, and there's a photo in the film of my dad and Eddie together when Eddie was going out to do Delirious. He's backstage at Delirious.
Do you know Richie Tinkin? Who managed Eddie? Who owned the comic strip?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't hear what you said. You said, do I know him?
Yeah. Do you know Richie Tinkin? Yeah, who managed Eddie Murphy for a bunch of years.
I didn't know. I knew. Growing up, obviously. Eddie, I was around SNL when they were doing the show, so I knew Eddie, but I was too young. When Eddie was on the show, I was, actually, my mom hosted, when my dad came back to the show, my mom hosted the second show he was back, and my parents met doing that episode, and they married 6 weeks later, and I was born a year and a half later, so I wasn't even really alive when Eddie was doing the SNL.
Oh, okay. Richie's, if you know the Eddie Murphy fucking Beverly Hills Cop movie, when he took over the mansion, Richie's at the end of the movie, he's like, who's this black guy in my house?
Nice.
Right. He's in the movie, so that's his manager.
Hey,
nice.
Charlie, tell us a good SNL story, man.
Well, no, I'll just tell you, so when I first came to LA about 12, 13, 14 years ago, I met a writer or whatever, and this guy introduces me to Steven Spielberg, and I'm there like a week, and I'm like, stuttering, and oh my God, and he said, wait, are you Dick Ebersol's son? And I said, yeah, and he goes, in 1975, I kept trying to get on the set of SNL because he hadn't done Jaws yet, and he's like, I'd have to beg your dad, and your dad would let me on. And he goes, the only memory I have of SNL is your dad walking up and down the hallways of SNL with a red aluminum baseball bat, and he'd be poking and hitting the writers with the bat because they'd be passed out drunk or high or whatever, and they'd have a show to do in like 2 days. And so he'd be like, so I asked my dad, and my dad said, no, the bat wasn't aluminum, it was wood. And I was like, you were hitting writers with a wood baseball bat?
Wow.
And that's
awesome.
one. Hold on, I'll tell you. The second story you'll like. The second story is a bunch of years ago, I'm dating this girl, and her family's friends with Larry David. So one night, I convinced my dad and my mom to come have dinner with the girl and her family, and they bring Larry David to the dinner. So Larry spends the whole dinner telling his favorite story, which is when he walked into my dad's office and said, because my dad had cut his skit, and he said, I quit. And then all of his friends said, are you insane? You can't quit SNL. So he showed up on Monday and pretended like he didn't quit, which became the famous Seinfeld episode. So he tells the whole story, and he goes, remember that, Dick? And turns to my dad, and my dad goes, no, I don't remember any of that. And Larry's whole face drops because, he's been eating off this story forever. And when everyone leaves at the end of the party, my girlfriend's dad goes, did you really not remember the story? And my dad goes, no, I don't remember. It just pisses off Larry more if I pretend like I didn't remember the story.
That's great.
That's excellent.
Larry.
That is so good.
Well, Charlie, man, this for real. This 30 for 30 is really good.
Great ending, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Great ending to the documentary.
Brought back a lot of memories. A lot of memories. And,
Shame he wasn't part of it.
Well, let me just say, to wrap this up for you, one thing I'll say is the most 30 for 30 ever had 2.3 million viewers. My biggest request to WWE fans and XFL fans, et cetera, is we've got to make this the most watched 30 for 30 of all time, because this is the type of 30 for 30 I want to be doing, which is like big and funny and commercial and crazy, et cetera. And so if there's anything that you and your listeners can do.
What?
Oh, shit.
What the fuck, Op?
Oh.
What?
This nigga's cold as ice.
What?
Cold as ice.
Cold as
What
ice.
the fuck to say to you? What'd you do?
He's talking about it's going to be like,
pro-choice?
he's talking about how it's going to be the biggest 30 for 30 ever. I don't need to hear that.
He was asking for help to make it big.
Did you see this disgruntled fucking mailman?
We better shape up. All three of us need to shape up.
Guess who's not making the website special?
I'm not helping him make it the biggest 30 for 30. If I was in it, it would be.
What the fuck?
That was beautiful.
You have my full attention, crazy eyes. Opie.
So good. It came out of nowhere.
What? What is he going to tell me? What?
He banged it on him.
Needs our help to make it the biggest 30 for 30.
He's like, it just wants a beep.
Good luck to you, Charlie.
He flatlined him.
He curved him, man.
That was fucking
We're
beautiful.
all in a friend's apartment wanting to party, watching the dealer shoot somebody over. Like, what the fuck?
You shot Spider, huh?
We just wanted to party. We just wanted to have fun.
He was yapping. You were. He was right to do it.
Here's a big
Sherrod loves power moves.
Yeah, I love it.
He goes, you know, he was a little squeaky there at the end.
You're gonna chop the fat off.
Thank you.
Sherrod saddles right up.
Yeah,
to
he's like, oh.
Banged it on him.
Sherrod understands.
Sherrod likes shows of strength. He was getting squeaky.
And now I'm looking up Charlie to see if it's in my spam folder.
Oh, the email?
This email isn't in my spam folder. There's gonna be problems.
Isn't there?
Yes,
Do you
there
hear him
is.
talking? He's like the manager of Vineyard Vines. Someone's got to get fired.
There was a lot
Full
of
to fleeces.
Charlie,
A lot of interesting shit in that documentary, man. That was very.
Charlie Brown, Charlie.
I don't think like a
Why do I have
football
Charlie
league,
Brown emails?
a football league like that now, I don't think has a chance of working against the
How
NFL.
come?
Because all the concussion shit, so you can't say it's more dangerous.
Yeah.
Or more hits or nothing like that.
100% right.
And plus, the NFL got more of a lock on football now than they had back then.
Well, what's great about the XFL is the fact that a lot of the stuff they use during the games was incorporated into the NFL.
Yeah, they just took it, absorbed it. Like the Borg.
Like the cameras they use now that float over the field.
Yeah,
where
that
they get
was-
those amazing angles where it looks like you're playing a video game.
That was
invented for XFL. The guy had that idea for an invention, and he brought it to XFL, and then the NFL took
And
it.
it changed the game.
And it changed the game.
Changed the game.
But what about, isn't there a market, though? Because there's so many guys who complain about how the game has become a pussy sport because they won't allow certain types of hits. They won't allow you to hit people with your helmet. You got to be gentle with a quarterback and a kicker. Like, isn't there a
Well, they
market
still
for that?
pop it. I mean, some people complain about that, but they still getting hit as hard as ever. You see in these playoff games, motherfuckers was getting popped.
Yeah, but you
But you just can't do helmet to helmet. You can't hit
Right.
somebody who don't know you're coming to pop them. You can't.
Talking about that shot, I talked to my buddy, this big barbecue guy. He said Atlanta's going to win.
I think they can because they put up so many points.
Has a good shot. That Matt Ryan is no
If Atlanta
joke.
wins, I'm picking you up,
Yeah.
Okay,
and we're going to Fox Brothers Barbecue in Atlanta.
I bet it's still.
We're just going to eat.
Let me doing it.
How about I don't have an
Yes.
email from Charlie Ebersol in my Gmail account?
No?
No.
Come on.
Is that the only account you have?
Yeah.
Because he sound pretty sure that he sent it to you.
I have a.
Why don't you search?
I do have a company email, but I literally haven't checked that in years.
Well, there's your 30 for 30.
I wouldn't even know how to get to that email
Check.
account.
Can you check a subject, check XFL, and see if there's anything XFL?
I would love if you find like 3 emails from 3 different times he could have did 30 for 30.
This show is a wrap. Next thing you know, we'll be doing a Rollins food court. Like,
He could have been on 3 of them shits. You blew it.
Eddie Murphy's sitting down for an SNL interview. They
Eddie
wanted
Murphy wants to
Opie's
meet Opie and do
commentary.
30 for 30.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nothing
Nothing
on
on the
XFL?
XFL. Charlie Ebersol.
Uh-oh.
No.
Uh-oh.
He's starting. Old man yells at cloud.
That Vegas. What about the Vegas? Now, the NFL say the Oakland, the Raiders moving to Vegas.
They've signed the papers to petition to go to Vegas. Now they have to
Now,
get
what
an approval.
stadium are they trying to? What are they playing?
The only one I know is Sam Boyd. I don't know if that's still there. That's the only stadium I've ever been aware of that exists in Vegas.
Is that the same place that the XFL played?
Yes, Sam Boyd, I believe, was the stadium. It was featured in the documentary.
Old man yells at the crowd.
That's Opie today.
You know, this is gonna hurt all weekend.
Fuck, dude.
I know
It hurt. It hurt me. It hurt me.
It's gonna hurt when it airs.
It's gonna
weekend.
hurt because I can't even tell you that my Twitter activity on this XFL 30 for 30. Everyone was asking.
Watch, it's gonna be
from the
hot.
old days. They're like, "Are you and Anthony going to be in this thing?"
Right.
And then I got a screener copy. I prepared myself. I'm like, they're going to at least use a clip of us. And there was a slight mention.
Is
Bob
Anthony
Costas,
in it?
No. It's the only mention is Bob Costas trashing the pregame show to Vince McMahon. And that pregame show.
And that was you guys.
Yeah. But he didn't mention us by name.
He didn't.
Uh-oh, Roland looks upset. What's
What,
wrong?
Roland?
He found something.
You made a big boo-boo.
Why?
He was going to pass the phone to his dad. You could have had Dick Ebersol
You know what?
And Jim was going to pass it to Eddie Murphy! Witch doctor!
Let's see how many people.
You can't win for losing.
Whatever.
Jesus.
Whatever. I
It'll be the
talked to
first
Donald
interview.
Trump, and then that clip's going everywhere today. And he's the president of the
Donald
United
Trump
States.
don't know you no more, cousin.
That could be the first interview of Dick in years. You blew that one.
Yeah.
Oh, what a shot.
Was he really?
Guess what he said?
He lying.
Nuts. Well, it's nuts. What was that?
He's bona fide loony now.
Fucking goofball.
We lost him.
Fuck. I told him not to take all those Liberators at once.
Ah, Charlie Ebersol.
Well, that's going to hurt. That's definitely going to hurt and sting for a while.
That's going to sting. That one's going to sting. I need a break.
This footage would have been great on there.
I'm not going to lie to you. I need a break.
Look at that sausage party. Good God, man.
This could have led to something.
Oh, fuck.
When those Hollywood types sees how handsome I still am.
Hollywood types.
Hey, I'm a fan, man. I would have loved to see you on this.
But dude, when I went to 30 Rock into the editing suite, and the guy is basically pulling his hair out with flop sweat, going, "We can't use any of it," and then he goes, "Let me show you why," and I start laughing my ass off because these assholes are going like this with their fingers where our penises would be in our pants, and we're jerking us off.
I think that would be funny for
Good
TV.
old-fashioned,
I mean,
huh?
I
Good
think,
old-fashioned jerk-off.
I think it fits for the audience. I mean, it was like, you know.
Well, I go, "Look, all right, so you can't use that shot." He goes, "No, you don't understand, because that guy did it. Everyone else noticed. So whatever camera we cut to,
They kept doing
someone's
it.
like, oh, it's my turn to jerk off Opie and Anthony."
They're organized. It's my turn.
Have you checked your Twitter? Of course they're organized.
fuck,
They're
bro.
animals.
Yeah, that's
So-
hilarious.
Maybe I could get like the original clip that never aired, where you could actually
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
So-
At least that. Put that on the
This
website.
one guy called me a paddlefoot on Twitter.
I mean,
I
say
couldn't stop
love you.
laughing.
look at the crowd in there in that fucking room.
It was crazy.
It looked like
All our fans.
rape convention.
Oh, my God.
No, that was every single one of them was our fans.
They were diehard too.
They weren't fans of the XFL. They didn't know
Oh,
what
I
the
know that.
XFL was.
That didn't exist. Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, we want to have you guys at the WWE restaurant, and we want all your fans there."
Where's that chick? How unsafe is that chick on that middle?
She was from YSP.
How
she was
unsafe.
awesome.
How unsafe is she in
Oh, I
danger
see
in
what
that
you're
room
saying.
though?
Yeah,
How many times they grab her by
Which
the...
girl from YSP?
I forgot her name. Fuck.
Oh, what's this? What's this part?
That's the cheerleaders.
The XFL dancers.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
Sherrod,
cheerleaders
you would
were
have cleaned
Wait, I
house in
didn't-
there, Sherrod.
super flexible girls.
I didn't make this public yet.
No.
I got a whole XFL compilation video.
Oh, this is
I'll
great.
make public today. Yeah, it's pretty much all our pregame shows, one after another, or highlights or whatever. All right,
Tweet it out to Charlie.
Jerry Cooney. No, not today.
Those girls were all leathered out, huh?
Is that blonde girl who introduced you? Is that the one you guys hired from Philly?
Yeah, she was sort of like
Melissa, right?
Yeah, she was like a mascot for our show.
Yeah.
basically. Melissa, thank you. She was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Sherrod, we
Melissa.
missed this whole thing with the chicks and everything.
Yeah, don't bring chicks in here no more.
All right, Craig Gass, what do you got? We got to take a break. We're way late.
Heading to Houston.